Negotiation Genius: How to Overcome Obstacles and Achieve Brilliant Results at the Bargaining Table and Beyond by Deepak Malhotra and Max H. Bazerman. Chapter Title Summary Chapter 1: Thinking Brilliantly About Negotiation. This chapter introduces the concept of negotiation genius, discussing how to approach negotiation with the strategic mindset and emphasizing the importance of preparation, creativity, and adaptability in achieving successful outcomes. Chapter 2: Seeing What Others Miss. This chapter focuses on the importance of perception in negotiation, including understanding and managing biases, reading cues from others, and uncovering hidden interests and motivations to gain an advantage in the negotiation process. Chapter 3: The 7 Barriers to Agreement. This chapter identifies 7 common obstacles to successful negotiation, such as conflicting interests, miscommunication, and emotional barriers, and provides strategies for overcoming these obstacles effectively. Chapter 4: Laying the Foundation for Success. This chapter discusses the importance of building trust, establishing rapport, and creating a positive negotiation environment, including effective communication, active listening, and building relationships to create a foundation for successful negotiation. Chapter 5: Creating Value with Multiple Parties. This chapter explores the challenges and opportunities of multi-party negotiations, including strategies for creating value, managing alliances, and leveraging coalitions to achieve favorable outcomes. Chapter 6: Claiming Value in Negotiation. This chapter delves into the strategies and tactics for claiming value in negotiation, including setting anchors, making concessions strategically, and using power and leverage effectively to achieve one's objectives. Chapter 7: Dealing with Hard Bargainers. This chapter provides strategies for dealing with difficult or hard bargainers, including identifying and managing different types of difficult behavior, handling tough tactics, and using principled negotiation approaches to navigate challenging situations. Chapter 8: Overcoming the Negotiation Impasse. This chapter discusses strategies for overcoming negotiation impasses or deadlocks, including breaking deadlocks, managing emotions, finding creative solutions, and building momentum towards reaching agreement. Keywords: 1. Negotiation: the process of communication and interaction between parties with conflicting interests or objectives, aimed at reaching an agreement or resolving a dispute. 2. Perception: the process of interpreting or understanding information from one's senses or experiences, which can influence how one perceives and interprets the behavior, motivations, and interests of others in a negotiation. 3. Barriers to Agreement: obstacles or challenges that can impede the progress of a negotiation, such as conflicting interests, miscommunication, emotional barriers, or external factors that can affect the negotiation process. 4. Trust: the confidence or belief in the reliability, integrity, and sincerity of the other party in a negotiation, which can impact the level of cooperation, openness, and willingness to reach an agreement. 5. Value Creation: the process of finding and creating additional value or opportunities in a negotiation beyond the initial positions or demands of the parties involved, often achieved through creative problem-solving, brainstorming, and exploring mutually beneficial options. 6. Claiming Value: the process of asserting or advocating for one's own interests, positions, or demands in a negotiation, often involving strategies such as setting anchors, making concessions, and using power or leverage to achieve favorable outcomes. 7. Hard Bargainers: negotiators who use tough tactics, aggressive behavior, or difficult strategies to gain an advantage in a negotiation, requiring specific approaches and techniques to effectively manage and deal with their behavior. 8. Negotiation Impasse: a deadlock or stalemate in a negotiation where parties are unable to reach an agreement, often due to differences in positions, interests, or other factors, requiring strategies for breaking deadlocks, managing emotions, and finding creative solutions. 9. Principled Negotiation: an approach to negotiation that focuses on identifying and addressing the underlying interests and motivations of the parties involved, rather than just positions or demands, with the aim of reaching mutually beneficial agreements based on objective criteria and problem-solving. 10. Power and Leverage: the ability to influence or affect the behavior or decisions of others in a negotiation, often based on factors such as expertise, authority, resources, or alternatives, which can be used strategically to achieve favorable outcomes. Here's a list of questions that can serve as reminders of the key lessons in the book Negotiation Genius: How to Overcome Obstacles and Achieve Brilliant Results at the Bargaining Table and Beyond by Deepak Malhotra and Max H. Bazerman. 1. How can I identify and address the underlying interests and motivations of the parties involved in a negotiation, rather than just focusing on positions or demands? 2. What strategies can I use to create additional value or opportunities in a negotiation beyond the initial positions or demands of the parties? 3. How can I effectively manage and deal with hard bargainers who may use tough tactics or aggressive behavior in a negotiation? 4. What are the key factors of power and leverage in a negotiation, and how can I strategically use them to influence the behavior or decisions of others? 5. How can I build and maintain trust with the other party in a negotiation, and how does trust impact the level of cooperation and willingness to reach an agreement? 6. What are the common barriers to agreement in a negotiation, and how can I overcome them to achieve better outcomes? 7. How can I break deadlocks or stalemates in a negotiation and find creative solutions to move forward? 8. What are the principles of principled negotiation, and how can I apply them to effectively address the interests and motivations of all parties involved? 9. How can I adapt my negotiation approach to different contexts or situations, such as dealing with difficult people, managing emotions, or navigating complex dynamics? 10. What are the key lessons and insights from the book that I can apply in my personal and professional negotiations to achieve brilliant results at the bargaining table and beyond? These questions can serve as prompts for reflection and help reinforce the key lessons and concepts presented in the book for better negotiation skills and outcomes. The authors of the book Negotiation Genius, How to Overcome Obstacles and Achieve Brilliant Results at the Bargaining Table and Beyond are Deepak Malhotra and Max H. Bazerman. They both have extensive backgrounds and expertise in the field of negotiation. Deepak Malhotra is a professor of business administration at Harvard Business School, where he teaches negotiation courses to MBA and executive education students. He is also a co-director of the Harvard Negotiation Institute and has been recognized for his teaching excellence in negotiation and dispute resolution. Max H. Bazerman is a professor of business administration at Harvard Business School and also holds appointments in the Harvard Kennedy School of Government and the Harvard Law School. He is an expert in the fields of negotiation, behavioral economics, and decision-making, and has authored numerous books and articles on these topics. Both authors have conducted extensive research, published widely, and consulted with organizations on negotiation strategies and practices. Their combined expertise in negotiation theory and practice provides a strong foundation for the insights and strategies presented in Negotiation Genius. Here is a list of important questions to ask yourself when learning from the book Negotiation Genius, How to Overcome Obstacles and Achieve Brilliant Results at the Bargaining Table and Beyond by Deepak Malhotra and Max H. Bazerman. 1. What are the key principles and strategies presented in the book for effective negotiation? 2. How can I apply the concepts of separating people from the problem and focusing on interests over positions in my negotiations? 3. How can I create value and identify areas of mutual gain in my negotiations? 4. How can I effectively deal with difficult or hard bargainers? 5. What are the factors of power and leverage in negotiation, and how can I use them to my advantage? 6. How can I build and maintain trust with the other party in my negotiations? 7. What are common barriers to reaching agreement in negotiations, and how can I overcome them? 8. How can I apply the principles of principled negotiation, also known as the Harvard Negotiation Project's method, in my negotiations? 9. How can I adapt my negotiation approach to different contexts and parties involved? 10. How can I apply the key lessons from the book in my personal and professional negotiations to achieve better outcomes? These questions can help guide your learning and reflection as you read and apply the concepts and strategies presented in the book. Reflecting on these questions and applying the principles in your negotiations can help you improve your negotiation skills and achieve better results. The key principles and strategies presented in the book Negotiation Genius for effective negotiation include: 1. Separating people from the problem, recognizing that emotions and personal dynamics can impact negotiations, and focusing on addressing the problem at hand rather than getting caught up in personal conflicts. 2. Interests over positions, shifting focus from rigid positions to underlying interests, needs, and motivations of both parties to identify mutually beneficial solutions. 3. Creating value, seeking opportunities to create value and expand the potential gains for both parties through creative problem solving and collaboration. 4. Dealing with difficult bargainers, developing strategies to effectively handle challenging negotiators, such as identifying their tactics and responding strategically. 5. Understanding power and leverage, understanding the dynamics of power and leverage in negotiations, including recognizing different sources of power and how to effectively use them. 6. Building and maintaining trust, recognizing the importance of trust in negotiations and employing strategies to build and maintain trust with the other party. 7. Overcoming barriers to agreement, identifying and addressing common barriers to reaching agreement, such as cognitive biases, communication breakdowns, and other challenges. 8. Applying principled negotiation. Applying the principles of principled negotiation, also known as the Harvard Negotiation Project's method, which emphasizes separating people from the problem, focusing on interests, generating options, and using objective criteria. 9. Adapting negotiation approach. Recognizing that negotiation strategies may need to be adapted based on the context, parties involved, and specific circumstances of each negotiation. 10. Applying lessons in personal and professional settings. Applying the key lessons and strategies from the book in various personal and professional negotiation settings to achieve better outcomes and improve negotiation skills. These are some of the key principles and strategies presented in the book for effective negotiation, and understanding and applying them can enhance your negotiation skills and outcomes. Separating people from the problem and focusing on interests over positions are key concepts in effective negotiation. To apply these concepts in your negotiations, you can ask yourself the following questions. 1. How can I address the issue at hand without letting personal emotions or biases interfere? This involves recognizing and managing emotions, being mindful of assumptions or judgments about the other party, and maintaining a constructive and collaborative mindset. 2. What are the underlying interests or needs of both parties? Instead of focusing solely on their positions or demands, try to understand their interests, motivations, and underlying concerns. This can help identify common ground and create options for mutual gain. 3. How can I communicate and actively listen to understand the other party's perspective? This involves using effective communication techniques, such as active listening, paraphrasing, and asking open-ended questions to gather information and clarify understanding. 4. How can I brainstorm and generate creative solutions that address both parties' interests? By shifting focus from rigid positions to flexible interests, you can explore various options and trade-offs that can lead to win-win outcomes. 5. How can I build trust and rapport with the other party? Creating a positive and collaborative environment based on trust, respect, and open communication can facilitate problem-solving and negotiation success. By consistently applying these concepts in your negotiations, you can enhance your ability to separate people from the problem, focus on interests, and achieve mutually beneficial outcomes. Creating value and identifying areas of mutual gain are crucial in successful negotiations. To achieve this, consider the following questions. 1. What are the interests and priorities of both parties? Understanding each party's underlying interests, motivations, and priorities can help identify areas of common ground and potential opportunities for creating value. 2. How can I expand the pie rather than focusing solely on dividing it? Look for ways to explore mutually beneficial options, such as trade-offs, concessions, or value-added proposals, that can lead to outcomes where both parties feel they have gained. 3. What information can I share or gather to uncover hidden opportunities? Transparent communication and information sharing can foster trust and cooperation, and help identify areas of potential value creation that may not be initially apparent. 4. Can I explore different scenarios or alternatives to find win-win solutions? Being open to creative problem-solving and considering multiple options can unlock opportunities for mutual gain. 5. How can I effectively collaborate and work towards a shared goal? Building a collaborative and cooperative relationship with the other party, based on trust, active listening, and shared objectives, can facilitate value creation and increase the likelihood of mutually beneficial outcomes. By actively seeking ways to create value and identify areas of mutual gain, you can enhance your negotiation outcomes and achieve results that benefit all parties involved. Dealing with difficult or hard bargainers can be challenging in negotiations. Here are some questions to consider when facing such situations. 1. What are the underlying interests or motivations of the difficult bargainer? Try to understand their perspective and what is driving their behavior. Are there any unmet needs or concerns that can be addressed to find common ground? 2. How can I maintain a constructive and professional attitude? It's important to stay composed and avoid reacting emotionally to difficult behavior. Focus on the issues at hand and avoid personal attacks or getting defensive. 3. What communication strategies can I use to diffuse difficult behavior? Employ active listening skills, ask open-ended questions, and seek to understand their concerns. Be clear and assertive in your communication while maintaining a respectful tone. 4. How can I set clear boundaries and establish a framework for negotiation? Define the scope and limits of the negotiation, including deadlines, parameters, and expectations. Be firm in upholding your own interests while being open to finding mutually acceptable solutions. 5. Are there potential trade-offs or concessions that can be made to address the concerns of the difficult bargainer? Look for creative solutions that meet both parties' interests, and be willing to explore options that can lead to a mutually satisfactory outcome. 6. What are my best alternative to a negotiated agreement? and whatnot. Worst alternative to a negotiated agreement. Understanding your alternatives can give you leverage in dealing with difficult bargainers and help you determine when it may be appropriate to walk away from the negotiation. 7. Can I involve a neutral third party or mediator to facilitate the negotiation process? A skilled mediator can help manage difficult behaviors and facilitate constructive communication between parties. Dealing with difficult bargainers requires a combination of effective communication, negotiation skills, and strategic thinking. Being prepared and maintaining a constructive approach can help you navigate challenging situations and achieve successful outcomes in your negotiations. Understanding the factors of power and leverage in negotiation can be crucial in achieving favorable outcomes. Here are some questions to consider when it comes to power and leverage in negotiations. 1. What are the sources of power in a negotiation? Power can come from various sources, such as expertise, authority, resources, reputation, or access to information. Identify the sources of power that you and the other party possess. 2. How can I enhance my own sources of power? Consider ways to strengthen your own sources of power through building expertise, increasing resources, establishing credibility, and leveraging relationships or alliances. 3. What are the sources of power for the other party? Understanding the sources of power for the other party can help you anticipate their behaviors and reactions. Consider their motivations and interests, and how their sources of power may influence their negotiation strategy. 4. How can I use my sources of power to influence the negotiation? Determine how you can leverage your sources of power to gain advantage in the negotiation process. This may include using information strategically, asserting your expertise, or leveraging your resources to create favorable outcomes. 5. What are the potential sources of leverage in the negotiation? Leverage refers to the ability to influence the other party's decisions or behavior. Consider the potential leverage points in the negotiation, such as alternative options, deadlines, or concessions that can be made. 6. How can I create or enhance my leverage in the negotiation? Look for opportunities to create or enhance leverage through strategic moves, building alliances, or framing issues in a favorable light. Consider the potential consequences of using leverage and assess the risks and benefits. 7. How can I manage power dynamics and maintain a balanced negotiation process? It's important to be mindful of power dynamics and strive for a balanced negotiation process that respects the interests and needs of both parties. Avoid abusive or unethical use of power, and seek win-win solutions whenever possible. Understanding the factors of power and leverage in negotiation can help you navigate the negotiation process more effectively and achieve favorable outcomes. It's important to approach power and leverage with integrity and strive for a mutually beneficial agreement. Building and maintaining trust with the other party in negotiations is crucial for fostering a collaborative and productive negotiation process. Here are some questions to consider when it comes to building and maintaining trust. 1. How can I establish a foundation of trust from the outset? Building trust starts with establishing a foundation of openness, honesty, and transparency in your interactions with the other party. Consider how you can communicate clearly, share information, and demonstrate your integrity from the beginning. 2. How can I demonstrate empathy and understanding towards the other party? Show genuine empathy towards the other party's perspective and emotions. Seek to understand their needs, interests, and concerns, and validate their feelings and opinions. This can help create a positive rapport and foster trust. 3. How can I fulfill my commitments and follow through on promises? Trust is built on reliability and consistency. Make sure to fulfill any commitments or promises you make during the negotiation process. This can help establish your credibility and demonstrate your trustworthiness. 4. How can I be transparent and authentic in my communication? Avoid exaggerations, misrepresentations, or half-truths in your communication. Strive to be transparent, authentic, and sincere in your interactions with the other party. This can build trust and credibility. 5. How can I build a cooperative and collaborative relationship with the other party? Foster a cooperative and collaborative mindset during the negotiation process. Seek win-win solutions, engage in active listening, and be open to finding mutually beneficial outcomes. This can create a positive environment and build trust between the parties. 6. How can I manage conflicts and disagreements in a constructive manner? Conflicts and disagreements are inevitable in negotiations, but how you manage them can impact trust. Focus on resolving conflicts in a constructive and respectful manner, using principled negotiation techniques, and finding common ground. 7. How can I maintain confidentiality and handle sensitive information appropriately? Trust can be eroded if sensitive information is mishandled. Ensure that you maintain confidentiality when required and handle sensitive information appropriately, respecting the other party's privacy and interests. Building and maintaining trust in negotiations requires intentional effort, effective communication, and a genuine commitment to integrity. Trust can be fragile and may take time to develop, but it is a critical element for successful negotiations. There are several common barriers that can hinder reaching an agreement in negotiations. Here are some questions to consider when it comes to overcoming these barriers. 1. How can I manage emotions effectively? Emotions can often derail negotiations and impede reaching an agreement. Reflect on how you can manage your own emotions and those of the other party. Practice emotional intelligence, and use techniques such as reframing and managing triggers to prevent emotions from becoming barriers to agreement. 2. How can I overcome differences in positions and interests? Negotiations often involve parties with different positions and interests. Instead of getting stuck in positional bargaining, focus on identifying underlying interests and finding common ground. Use active listening and open-ended questions to understand the other party's perspective and explore potential areas of agreement. 3. How can I address communication breakdowns? Communication breakdowns can occur due to misinterpretations, misunderstandings, or misaligned expectations. Practice effective communication skills, including active listening, clarifying messages, and confirming understanding. Be open to feedback and adapt your communication approach as needed to overcome communication barriers. 4. How can I handle difficult behaviors or tactics? Negotiations may involve difficult behaviors or tactics from the other party, such as aggression, manipulation, or deception. Anticipate potential difficult behaviors and develop strategies to manage them, such as staying calm, setting boundaries, and using assertive communication. Focus on the issues at hand and avoid getting caught up in unproductive behaviors. 5. How can I address power imbalances? Power imbalances can impact negotiations, with one party having more leverage or influence than the other. Reflect on power dynamics and seek ways to level the playing field, such as building coalitions, leveraging alternatives, or finding areas of mutual benefit. Consider creative options for achieving a fair and equitable outcome. 6. How can I overcome cultural or contextual differences? Negotiations may involve parties from different cultural backgrounds or operating in different contexts. Be mindful of cultural norms, communication styles, and contextual factors that may impact negotiations. Practice cultural intelligence and adapt your approach accordingly to bridge differences and build understanding. Overcoming barriers to reaching agreement in negotiations requires proactive strategies, effective communication, flexibility, and adaptability. Reflect on potential barriers that may arise in your specific negotiation context and develop approaches to address them to increase the likelihood of reaching a successful agreement. The principles of principled negotiation, also known as the Harvard Negotiation Project's method, can be applied in your negotiations through the following steps. 1. Separate people from the problem. Focus on the issues at hand rather than letting emotions and personal differences interfere with the negotiation process. Avoid attacking or blaming the other party and instead engage in open and constructive communication to understand their perspective. 2. Focus on interests, not positions. Look beyond the initial positions taken by each party and identify the underlying interests, needs, and motivations. Explore potential areas of mutual interest and common ground that can lead to creative and mutually beneficial solutions. 3. Generate options for mutual gain. Brainstorm and explore various options and solutions that can create value for both parties. Foster a collaborative mindset and seek win-win outcomes that address the interests of all parties involved. 4. Use objective criteria. Base your negotiation on objective criteria or standards that are fair, reasonable, and justifiable. Rely on data, facts, and objective benchmarks to support your proposals and decisions. 5. Maintain effective communication. Practice active listening. Use clear and assertive communication, and confirm understanding to ensure effective communication throughout the negotiation process. Be open to feedback and be willing to adapt your communication approach as needed. 6. Build and maintain trust. Trust is crucial in negotiations. Foster trust by being reliable, consistent, and transparent. Keep your promises and follow through on commitments. Avoid deceitful or manipulative tactics that can erode trust. 7. Focus on problem solving. Approach negotiations as opportunities to jointly solve problems rather than engaging in adversarial tactics. Collaborate with the other party to identify and address shared challenges and seek mutually acceptable solutions. 8. Be prepared and adaptable. Prior to the negotiation, do your homework, gather information, and anticipate potential issues or challenges. Be prepared to adapt your approach based on the dynamics and developments during the negotiation process. By applying the principles of principled negotiation in your negotiations, you can promote constructive communication, build trust, explore creative solutions, and increase the likelihood of reaching mutually beneficial outcomes. Adapting your negotiation approach to different contexts and parties involved is important to ensure effective communication and maximize the chances of reaching successful outcomes. Here are some strategies to consider. 1. Understand the context. Different negotiation contexts, such as a business negotiation, a personal negotiation, or a cross-cultural negotiation, may require different approaches. Familiarize yourself with the specific context and consider how cultural, social, or organizational factors may impact the negotiation process. 2. Know your counterparts. Research and understand the backgrounds, interests, and preferences of the parties involved in the negotiation. Consider their communication styles, decision-making processes, and negotiation tendencies. This knowledge can help you tailor your approach to better align with their needs and motivations. 3. Flex your communication style. Be adaptable in your communication style based on the personalities and communication styles of the parties involved. Some may prefer direct and assertive communication, while others may prefer a more indirect or collaborative approach. Adjust your communication style accordingly to build rapport and facilitate effective communication. 4. Customize your negotiation strategy. Consider the specific interests, priorities, and motivations of the parties involved and customize your negotiation strategy accordingly. For example, if you are negotiating with a long-term business partner, you may prioritize maintaining the relationship over immediate gains. However, if you are negotiating a one-time deal, you may prioritize achieving the best outcome in that specific negotiation. 5. Be flexible in your tactics. Different negotiation situations may call for different tactics. For example, a cooperative approach may work well in a collaborative negotiation, while a more assertive approach may be necessary in a competitive negotiation. Be willing to adapt your tactics based on the dynamics of the negotiation and the parties involved. 6. Focus on building trust. Trust is crucial in any negotiation. Building trust through transparent communication, keeping your promises, and showing genuine interest in the concerns of the other party can enhance the negotiation process and lead to better outcomes. Adapt your approach to build trust with the parties involved. 7. Be open to feedback. Be receptive to feedback and cues from the other party. Listen carefully to their concerns, needs, and preferences, and be willing to adjust your approach based on their feedback. This shows respect and consideration for their perspective, which can help in building rapport and reaching mutually acceptable solutions. Remember that adapting your negotiation approach is not about compromising your goals or values, but rather about tailoring your communication and strategy to effectively engage with different parties and contexts. It requires flexibility, adaptability, and a willingness to understand and respond to the unique dynamics of each negotiation situation. Applying the key lessons from the book in your personal and professional negotiations can help you achieve better outcomes. Here are some strategies to consider. 1. Reflect on the key principles. Take time to reflect on the key principles and strategies presented in the book, such as separating people from the problem, focusing on interests over positions, and creating value in negotiations. Consider how these principles can be applied to your specific personal and professional negotiation situations. 2. Practice self-awareness. Self-awareness is crucial in effective negotiation. Reflect on your own strengths, weaknesses, communication style, and negotiation tendencies. Recognize your biases and emotions that may influence your negotiation approach. Being self-aware can help you manage your emotions, make better decisions, and adapt your approach as needed. 3. Prepare thoroughly. Preparation is key to successful negotiations. Gather information about the other party's interests, priorities, and alternatives. Develop a clear understanding of your own interests, priorities, and goals. Anticipate potential challenges or objections and prepare strategies to address them. Adequate preparation can give you confidence and leverage in the negotiation process. 4. Apply active listening and empathy. Active listening involves truly understanding the concerns, needs, and perspectives of the other party. Practice active listening by giving your full attention, asking clarifying questions, and summarizing what you hear. Show empathy by acknowledging and validating the emotions and concerns of the other party. This can help build rapport, trust, and understanding. 5. Seek win-win solutions. Aim for win-win solutions that create value for both parties. Look for common ground and areas of mutual gain. Collaborate and brainstorm creative options that meet both parties' interests. Avoid a win-lose mindset that may lead to contentious negotiations and strained relationships. 6. Practice effective communication. Effective communication is crucial in negotiations. Clearly articulate your interests, concerns, and proposals. Use assertive and respectful language. Avoid making assumptions or jumping to conclusions. Clarify ambiguous statements or requests. Practice active communication skills, such as paraphrasing and summarizing, to ensure mutual understanding. 7. Adapt your approach. Be flexible and adaptable in your negotiation approach based on the dynamics of the specific negotiation and the parties involved. Be willing to adjust your strategy, tactics, and communication style as needed. Consider feedback from the other party and make adjustments accordingly. 8. Reflect on your performance. Reflect on your negotiation performance after each negotiation. Consider what worked well and what could be improved. Learn from your experiences and apply the lessons learned in future negotiations. By applying the key lessons from the book in your personal and professional negotiations, you can enhance your negotiation skills, build better relationships, and achieve more favorable outcomes. Remember that negotiation is a dynamic process, and continuous learning and improvement can lead to better results over time. Key lessons: 1. Principles and strategies for effective negotiation. 2. Separating people from the problem and focusing on interests over positions. 3. Creating value and identifying areas of mutual gain. 4. Dealing with difficult or hard bargainers. 5. Factors of power and leverage in negotiation. 6. Building and maintaining trust. 7. Overcoming common barriers to reaching agreement. 8. Applying principled negotiation. 9. Adapting negotiation approach to different contexts. 10. Applying key lessons in personal and professional negotiations. Themes: negotiation strategies, principled negotiation, creating value, managing difficult situations, building trust, overcoming barriers, adapting approach. Epilogue: as you come to the end of Negotiation Genius, How to Overcome Obstacles and Achieve Brilliant Results at the Bargaining Table and Beyond by Deepak Malhotra and Max H. Bazerman, you have gained a wealth of knowledge and practical strategies to become a more effective negotiator. You've learned how to approach negotiations with a principled mindset, focusing on interests rather than positions, creating value, managing difficult situations, building trust, and overcoming common barriers to agreement. Armed with a deeper understanding of negotiation dynamics, you've discovered the importance of self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and adaptive communication in various personal and professional settings. You've honed your skills in active listening, reframing, and problem-solving, allowing you to navigate even the most challenging negotiations with confidence and competence. You've recognized the power of collaboration and empathy in building lasting relationships and achieving win-win solutions. You've also learned to leverage factors such as power and leverage strategically to achieve your negotiation objectives. Through reflective practice and continuous feedback, you've developed a growth mindset, constantly adapting your negotiation approach to different contexts and parties involved. As you move forward in your personal and professional life, armed with the lessons from this book, you're well equipped to achieve better outcomes, create value, and build trust in your negotiations. You've gained a reputation as a skilled and principled negotiator, capable of overcoming obstacles and achieving brilliant results at the bargaining table and beyond. Remember, negotiation is a lifelong skill, and the journey of learning and improvement never ends. Keep applying the key lessons from this book in your negotiations, refining your strategies, and honing your skills. Embrace the mindset of a negotiation genius, and continue to navigate negotiations with confidence, empathy, and effectiveness. Congratulations on your journey towards becoming a negotiation genius. Best of luck in all your future negotiations. Answer key to the questions from page 1. 1. To identify and address underlying interests, focus on asking open-ended questions, actively listening to the other party, and exploring their motivations, needs, and concerns beyond their stated positions or demands. 2. Strategies to create additional value include exploring integrative or collaborative options, brainstorming for creative solutions, and identifying areas of mutual gain or common interests. 3. Dealing with hard bargainers may involve staying calm and composed, not reacting impulsively to their tactics, using principled negotiation techniques, and maintaining a collaborative approach while protecting your own interests. 4. Factors of power and leverage in a negotiation include information, alternatives, timing, and reputation. Strategic use of those factors can influence the behavior or decisions of others. 5. Building and maintaining trust can be achieved through honest and transparent communication, keeping promises, delivering on commitments, and showing empathy and understanding towards the other party's perspective. 6. Common barriers to agreement in a negotiation may include differing interests, emotional barriers, communication breakdowns, and positional bargaining. Overcoming these barriers may require active problem-solving, effective communication, and finding common ground. 7. Breaking deadlocks or stalemates can be addressed by exploring alternative options, involving third-party mediators, or reframing the issues to find creative solutions that meet the underlying interests of both parties. 8. Principles of principled negotiation, also known as the Harvard Negotiation Project's method, include separating people from the problem, focusing on interests over positions, generating options for mutual gain, and using objective criteria for decision-making. 9. Adapting negotiation approach to different contexts may involve managing emotions through self-awareness and emotional intelligence, using effective communication patterns, and being flexible and adaptable to the specific dynamics of each negotiation. 10. The key lessons from the book can be applied in personal and professional negotiations to achieve better outcomes by focusing on interests, building trust, using principled negotiation techniques, and adapting the approach to the specific context and parties involved.